Hey guys, this is Chris from PootyPaintball.com, and today we're going to go over the clone spring mod and the new Pooty sprung bolt for the clones, for the Clone GT and the GTIs. So let's kind of go over how this works. We're going to kind of go over the parts, and then we're going to go do some shooting videos and show you the differences and what it does for you. So this is the new Pooty bolt. Let's kind of go over the changes we did to this. So what we do to this is we polish the anodizing on the outside of the bolt and on the inside bore of the bolt, and we machine out the back of the bolt so the spring will go in the back of the bolt. And we have the Venturi face, so it's going to slide really well in your O-rings. Lube's going to hold up really good. We changed the inner bore size a little bit, so it's a little bit looser on those bolt guide O-rings. And the face is going to sound, well, the face is ported a little bit different, so it's going to have a little bit of a different sound. So O-ring fitment's going to be a little bit easier. That's about it. The stock bolt, both have the flat face. So the stock bolt, as you can see here, is not machined down the back. Now, that being said, we can modify your stock parts also to accept the spring, depending on what gun you have. Determines what parts we have to spring mod. If you have a GT, we have to spring mod the valve and the bolt. If you have a GTI, you can just get the bolt spring modded, or we can sell you the bolt that's ready to go, and you'll obviously need a spring. So the GTI valves, MacDev bored out these a little bit bigger, so the spring doesn't touch in there, so that's good for us. And let's go over dwell and how that works in the gun. So you have 8 dynamic O-rings that touch this bolt, okay? All at the same time. They all cause friction. If those O-rings are tight, you're going to need a higher dwell. Now, what dwell is it's essentially the amount of time the solenoid is open to propel the bolt forward, stop to release the air, and then be driven back. Now, that's where FSDO dwell comes in, because it's just the extra dwell added for the bolt to go forward. Now, in these guns, and all spool valve guns, your dwell is going to change depending on how tight those O-rings are. If you got perfect O-ring fitment, as you notice, I have different colored O-rings on here. It doesn't matter what color O-rings you have, as long as they fit good. So I custom fit it to this valve, so that moves very nice. So that's going to be good for that. I also custom fitted a HB&R O-ring in here, not because of the color, just because it fits perfect. Perfect slide, not too loose, not too tight. Same thing with the bolt sail O-ring, same thing with the bolt guide O-ring. So if you guys want to sit there and custom fit the O-rings, you can do that to get an even lower dwell. The spring can only push so hard. You have to remember that. We can only use a spring that's thin, that's not too long, because there's not a lot of, if you go any deeper on that bolt, you're gonna clear that back O-ring and you're just gonna leak. So that's as much as we can do. So the spring only can push so hard. So if you guys got super tight O-rings, the spring's not going to do all that much. It'll help with lowering the dwell, but you guys can't go super low in that dwell. You're going to run into problems. So this gun right here, we can run this off of a dwell of 8, but we would reliably probably set it to a dwell of 10. Most of you guys should be running at 10. If you go any lower, you're going to definitely want to test it over the chronograph and make sure it's set up right for that. Do it properly. So let me show you how this works. Essentially, you would take the spring, drop it over the bolt guide, obviously lube all your parts up, install the bolt in the can, put that sucker on, screw this guy on, and simply drop it over that, and you're good. So there's no lube on that at all, it's completely dry. So we would obviously lube that up, and there's your sprung bolt system. Throw that in your GT and you're good to go. Okay, we are back, and now we're going to be doing a chrono video of the spring in and the spring out using the Pooty spring mounted bolt at a dwell of 8. Now, we're only doing this at a dwell of 8 to show you how the spring affects dwell at low dwell settings. That doesn't mean this would be set at 8. That just means, this is just to show you, more results with a lower dwell. So, all right, let's go ahead and shoot this over the chronograph. There's no spring in this right now. Okay. Okay, first shot, 122. That one didn't even shoot. Okay, there we go. 150. 144. We got some more balls. 155. 152. That one didn't even read. That one didn't even read. So as you can see, 121. That's completely unreliable. So let's go ahead and come back over here. Let's degas this. Okay, no air in there. Let's take out the guts. And we are simply going to drop the spring over the bolt guide. Now when you pull the bolt back, you shouldn't hear any spring. If you do, there's a problem, something's binding. So it comes back nice and easy. Alright, so we're going to shoot it at the exact same setting. Okay, so it's pretty much ready to go. It's not, we got to air it up. Okay, let's shoot this over the chrono now. 250, 270, 260, 281. So it's pretty inconsistent, so 8 is still pretty low on the dwell. 296, 280, 272. Let me shoot a couple more. Good. 285 and 281. So is a 120 feet per second gain. That's just to show you how the spring can add mechanical dwell to your gun. Okay, now what we're going to show you is just for your guys' information on how to properly dwell drop a spool valve gun, or any gun actually. It all works the same. So this has the Pooty bolt in it with the spring. Dwell is set at 12. So we're gonna shoot this over the chrono, get an average feet per second reading, and then we're gonna drop the dwell by 1 and keep going until we see a pretty significant feet per second drop, or it just gets inconsistent, or we get drop off, one or the other. So, okay, let's go ahead and turn this on. All right, let's shoot this over the chrono. Okay, average feet per second is 267. All right, so let's go ahead and drop it by 1. Okay, we dropped it to 11 on the dwell. So let's go ahead and turn it off. Shoot a couple firing shots over, not over the chrono, just to, you know, reset things. Okay, good. Now let's chrono this at a dwell of 11. Okay, 268. So pretty close to the other reading. So let's go ahead and drop it one more. Okay, now we are at a dwell of 10. So let's go ahead and shoot this over the chrono now. Okay. Okay, we are at 269. So we are still, I'm not getting any drop off, very consistent, and it's still chronoing at about the same. So let's drop it down to 9. Okay, now we are at a dwell of 9. Trust me, we're not changing the reg pressures or anything like that. Everything's still the same. Pooty bolt with the spring mod in there. So let's go ahead and turn this on again. Always shoot a couple of clearing shots. Alright, let's do it. .268 average. So we are going pretty low. Now we're going to 9, so let's drop it down to 8. Okay, we are now at a dwell of 8. So let's shoot this over the chrono. See how it goes. Okay, 271 average feet per second. Still not dropping off. So let's go down to 7. Okay, now we are at a dwell of 7, and let's shoot this over the chrono and see what we get on that. Okay, it just went down to 260 on the average feet per second. So 260, yeah, we saw, you know, it's been damn consistent all the way up to that. So 7 is the bare bones. I would go, I don't even want to go any lower. I would say this gun run's probably reliable off a dwell of 9, maybe 8 if you're pushing it. That's a good example. So, yeah, there you go. Alright, and lastly, let's kind of show you how this gun is set up. Right now I have it set up at a dwell of 8.5. I've now adjusted the reg to about 285, 290 feet per second, and just about there. And we are running the Pooty flat face bolt with the spring inside. So, dwell of 8.5, and I'm going to show you a pressure test on what this is running at right now. Now these are, I custom fit these O-rings, so the bolt system is moving pretty well. So let's go ahead and chrono this over the chrono. See what we got. 289, 290, 293, 287, 285, 290, 290, 292, 292, 286. That's pretty damn consistent at a dwell of 8.5 and 95 psi. So there you go.